Alright, welcome back. This is the second video for secants, tangents, and angles. I just want to give you guys a couple help and hints for the practice, and hopefully this clarifies a couple things of what you're supposed to do. So the first one that I wanted to look at within the practice was this problem where it wants us to go ahead and solve for x. And if we look and analyze the diagram, we do have two tangents to our circle because they only intersect the circle once. And this would follow from our formula for the tangent angles. And within this diagram, we have a larger intercepted arc that goes from L to I to J, so we call that arc Lij. And then we have our smaller intercepted arc, which is close to the angle, and that one is x. So our formula, if we're following from the tangent angle, if we go back to our formula, I'll write it down for you guys. I was using the formula x equals a minus b divided by 2. Now this diagram can be a little bit confusing, but please remember that a is the larger intercepted arc, which is far away from your angle. B is the smaller intercepted arc closest to the angle. And then x is the actual angle that they give. So while our x is in a different location here, we have to understand what we're substituting into this formula and what our formula actually represents. So again, our larger arc minus the smaller arc divided by 2 is going to give us that angle on the outside. Okay. So the setup for this, we don't have the larger arc. However, A and B make up the whole circle, and we know that there's 360 degrees within any circle. So one way that we can actually represent the measure of arc A is by taking 360 degrees and subtracting the smaller arc, in this case, which is x. So A is equal to 360 minus whatever the value of x is. Okay, so substituting into this formula, we know our value of x, or the angle in our diagram, which happens to be 64, so we would substitute that in as necessary. And then carefully do our substitution on the other side. So as we said, the value of A is 360 minus x. Subtract our value of B, so the smaller intercepted arc, which is x. And then all of that is divided by 2. So now this just becomes an algebra problem of solving for x. What I would do first is your cross multiplication. Let's get rid of these fractions that we have. So the first thing, if we do our cross multiplication, we'll multiply 64 times 2, okay, which gives us 128. And then 1 times all of that fun stuff, we'll just pretty much bring that down. And then solving for x. So notice that within these parentheses, 360 minus x, we can't do anything with that. There's nothing to distribute. So the parentheses can actually just get dropped. And then combining like terms, you have negative x minus x. Which gives you guys a negative 2x. And then I think from here you guys can actually solve for x. The problem may ask you for specific measures. So remember, once you have your value of x, you're able to substitute that back in to any part of your diagram and then answer the question. The second problem I wanted to go ahead and give you some hints and start you for. This is pretty much the same thing. So in our diagram, notice that you guys have a secant line and a secant line that are creating two intercepted arcs. So this again is the secant-secant angle relationship. We have a major arc on the outside. This is the bigger one. Again, with our formula, we call this our A value. You guys have a smaller arc closest to the angle on the outside. That represents our B value. And then you have your actual angle, which we call that our X. So you're still following the secant-secant angle formula, which tells you that your value of X is A minus B divided by 2, larger arc minus the smaller arc divided by 2, and then you just have to carefully substitute in again and solve. So our value of X, we have 2x plus 8. Our value of A is 7x plus 25. And then we're going to subtract the value of B, which is 4x minus 8. And then this is all divided by 2. Alright, so again, to get you guys started on the solving, I would create fractions. Let's do cross multiplication. Get rid of those fractions. When we cross multiply, we're going to do 2 times 2x plus 8, so there does need to be some distribution. And then 1 times the numerator of the other fraction. We're just going to go ahead and bring all of that down. So distribution here, we do need to distribute the 2 on the left-hand side, and then there is a negative, or think of it as a negative 1, that we also have to distribute on the right side here. So we'll do 2 times 2x, 4x, 2 times 8 is 16. We're going to bring down our 7x plus 25. There's nothing to distribute, so it can break out of the parentheses. Negative 1 times 4x is negative 4x, and negative 1 times negative 8 is going to give us a positive 8. So really, again, with the solving here, it's a matter of combining like terms, getting x to the same side of the equation, and then isolating x using inverse operations. So I believe you guys can go ahead and continue through the solving for that. Again, whatever you guys get for x can always be substituted back up into your expressions in the diagram. It depends on what the question's asking you to specifically solve for. So I hope that helps. If you guys have questions, again, please reach out through Remind or email me at my personal email, and I'm available pretty much most of the day, so just let me know. Okay? Thanks, guys, and I hope you're doing well.